शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुर्गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. So we were going to look at Viksharo Rohito Margo, which is the 40th shloka. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, we'll chant the shloka first and then we'll study it. So in this one, Viksharo Rohito Margo Hetuhu Damodara Sahaha. So those are the 6 namas. So Viksharaha, Rohitaha, Margaha, Hetuhu, Damodaraha, Sahaha. In the next line, Mahidaraha, Mahidharaha, notice the Mahaprana there. Mahabhagaha, again Bha is Mahaprana. Vegavan, Amitashanaha. So there are 4 namas in the second line. I think pretty straightforward to chant, so we'll take up chanting. Who would like to chant the shloka with me? No one?
I can do it, Guruji.
Awesome. Viksharo rohito margo heturdamodaras sahaha.
Viksharo rohito margo he durdamodarasah.
Mahidharo mahabhago vegavanamitashanah.
Mahidaro mahabhago vegavanamitasanah.
Awesome. We'll just do one full shloka this time. Viksharo rohito margo heturdamodaras sahaha. Mahidharo mahabhago vegavanamitashanah.
Viksharo rohito margo he durdamodarasah. Mahidaro mahabhago vegavanamitasanah.
Yeah, Mitashanah, the Shivasha.
Yeah, Guruji, that's what I realized after telling it.
No worries. Awesome. So we'll look at the meaning now. Viksharaha. So ksharaha is something that can decay. So viksharaha means the undecaying. So the same thing when it goes to aksharaha also has the same meaning. So the one who is not subject to any kshara or destruction is vikshara, and that is the essential nature of Ishvara. And we have seen this. So as destruction is happening on a daily basis, like, one cell is transforming, like, is dying and the other cells are being created. So in the Jagat, there is the destruction and creation and sthiti, like, Srishti, Sthiti, Laya is happening continuously. But Bhagavan, as the substratum of all of this existence, he doesn't have any destruction. He only has manifestation and unmanifestation. So that's the meaning here. The next nama is Rohitaha, the one who has red color. So Rohita means the one who is red in color. It may refer to some of his forms which are red in color, especially the Matsyavatara. So all the avatars, and we have seen the meanings of avatara, where Bhagavan takes the form on his own, by his own accord, and not because of any karma phalas. A general, like, a janma, a manava janma, or any other janma is caused because of karma phalas, whereas Bhagavan's avatara is not because of that. Not to get rid of his karmas, but purely by his own will. So it refers to in this one, Rohitaha, it refers to the Matsyavatara of the Bhagavan. There Bhagavan took a form which was Rohita, red in color, as well as Rohita, which also means growing very quickly. Rohita can also be taken as the red life-giving blood. So Bhagavan is there inside us as blood, which makes the body alive. That is the second meaning that was taken. The next nama is Margaha, and we have seen this similar namas in the past as well. He is the path, and he is also the destination. He is the seeker, he is the sought, and he is the instrument, that is the path to reach the sought. So this is what we call as a triputi, right? Like the three things, the jnaya, jnana, and the jnata. The one who is seeking the knowledge himself, and the instrument of knowledge is all him. So he is the goal as well as the path. Next nama, hetuhu. So this goes back to the Vedantic statement that we have been hearing. Sorry, somebody is not on mute. Okay. The abhinna nimitta upadana karanam. So that is a Vedantic statement that we have been hearing quite a few times. So he is the material as well as the efficient cause, the intellectual cause behind the whole universe that exists. So he is the hetu, means the one who made something happen. So he is the cause. And what kind of cause? He is the material cause as well as the intellectual cause or the efficient cause behind everything that exists. The next nama is interesting, beautiful nama, Damodaraha. Okay, so there are three different meanings that are taken here. So we'll see, I think the more popular ones first, and then we'll go into the other ones. So Dama Udaraha, if you take it in that way. So Dama means rope, and Udara means stomach. So in Krishnavatara, when Bhagavan, as a little child, was being mischievous, Mother Yashoda ties him to the motor. So, and actually in Vishnu Shatpadi Stotram, Shankaracharya actually explains it in such beautiful way. So, who else other than Mother herself, who is able to tie around the udara of somebody who is the whole creation? So she was able to, like, tie around the whole universe, is how he explains it in the commentary of Shatpadi Stotram. So that's the Damodaraha. So there is a Damodara Leela that we talk about, the Avatara Leela. Then the actual deeper meaning to this is Damadi Sadhanena Udara, is how it is explained. So the Dama, so Damadi Sadhanena Udara. Dama is disciplined sense organs, and Shama is disciplined mind. So we have also spoken about these in the past. There are 6 qualities called as Shatka Sampatti that are given, and Sadhana Chatushtayam there are 4, and then Shatka Sampatti out of that is Dama, Shama, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, and Samadhana. So these are must have for anybody who is on the path to moksha or to attain Brahma Jnanam. And what do these mean?
Can you repeat it once again, Guruji, if you don't mind?
Sure, of course. Dama, Shama, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, and Samadhana. So we'll take Dama first. So Dama is control of sense organs, both Karmendriyas and Jnanendriyas are taken. So restraining those, the mind gets controlled, and we have seen it in various different explanations that mind is and I think 2 weeks ago we were talking about mind and what mind does, and Antakarana, we were just breaking things into the Manobuddhi Ankara Chitta, and what are the individual attributes of each of these. So if you think about how mind works, all the Jnanendriyas, the Jnanendriyas are the 5, right? The eyes, mouth, nose, ears, and skin. These collect information and send it to the mind, and the mind sends it to the intellect to process it, or sometimes it just takes its own decision and passes it back to the Karmendriyas. What are the 5 Karmendriyas? Vak, which is our speech, organ of speech, organ of our hands, our legs, and the organ of reproduction, and the organ of excretion. So the Karmendriyas have come up with like this. Once the intellect has processed this information and wants to perform an action, one of these organs are used to perform that action. So To control the mind, they say control the sense organs. So Dhammadi sadhana means those are the 6 sadhanas that are given. So Dhamma Adi means Dhamma and sadhana. So if you start with Dhamma, controlling your sense organs, then automatically the mind gets controlled, and then the rest of them, the forbearance, the Shraddha and Samadhana, the Dhyana, everything falls into place. That's the first step, is important. So Damodaraha is your step 1, who can start you in the process of getting to moksha. And there is a third meaning here. According to Vyasa, Dhamma means the worlds. The Lord who has all the worlds in his udara, in his abdomen, and he is known as Damodaraha. That's a third meaning. And this is what, again in Avatara, Sri Krishna Avatara, Mother Yashoda was able to see all the worlds in Sri Krishna's mouth as he was eating mud. So another Avatara Leela to be brought here. The next nama is Sahaha, the one who is tolerant. So here it's explained, no matter how many times we make mistakes, Ishvara is tolerant and is able to withstand the wailings and implorations of all the jivas. He is never tired of hearing our sorrows, and he is always cheerful. Hence, he is Sahaha. So that's one meaning. And the second meaning, and with all of these, note that, when we're talking about attributes of Bhagavan, there are two things that we have to think about. One, he has those attributes, and he is the one who gives us those attributes. So if we ask for it, so that's how we get those attributes within ourselves. So his grace alone can we get Sahana Shakti, the capacity to withstand difficult situations. So Sahaha is that nama. And so there is another completely different meaning. He is Saha also because he surpasses everyone. He is Sreshtha. The next nama is Mahidharaha, the one who supports the earth. So I don't know if we have to, specifically talk a lot about this. So all the forces, when we talk about the gravitational force, when we talk about the centripetal and the centrifugal forces, and with this, the planets in their own orbits, and how this all of this universe exists in a place, that's because of his Shakti. Therefore, he is Mahidharaha. The next nama is Mahabhagaha, the one who has great glory or is fortunate. So Bhaga, and we have seen in the past as well, the 6 Bhagas of Bhagavan means Bhagyas, glory, blessings, capacity, and so on. So Bhagavan is the one who is able to do this great work of creating the Jagat, sustaining it and resolving it. And he does that without any effort. Hence, he is Mahabhaga. Okay. The next nama is Vegavan. It's the one who has great speed. So when we talk about the manifested universe and how the universe is still expanding, even science, I know I was quoting some science in the past as well, the universe is further expanding, and at some point it'll all contract back, and then again it'll, expand. So all of this happens at a much greater speed. And if this is all Maya, right? Like if this is what's happening to existence, like, or manifested universe, think about what else Bhagavan is, who is in the absolute measure of speed as well. So, just the basics, like, it's a speed of light, 300,000 kilometers per second is how, like, the speed of light. And Earth is rotating at like 60,000 kilometers per second, or whatever that measure is. So if these are the speeds of existence, like, what is in the Jagat, he is much more in terms of speed. So the one who has great speed. So there is one thing, because we also say, he cannot move because he's Tanu, right? And the whole universe he's expanded into the universe so much that he is already there, and there is nothing more he can expand into. So Shankaracharya is explaining that contradiction here. From the standpoint of the upadhis, like the mind, Ejati, he moves. But at the standpoint from his own standpoint, he is naijati, he does not move at all. So this is from Shankaracharya quotes Ishavasya Upanishad here. So anejadekam manaso javiyaha, the one unmoving is faster than the mind, is how it is explained. The last nama of this shloka, amitashanaha, the consumer of immeasurable food. So mita means measured, amita means a lot, unmeasurable. Ashana means one, means food. So here Gita, in Gita, the Lord advises us that we want to understand the Lord, we should be mitashana, right? So you eat, consume a little food, take only moderate, measured quantity of food. But he is amitashana. He's the one who exists as the whole universe, and at the time of resolution, he swallows the entire universe consisting of the planets, the galaxies, space, time, and so on. So as though swallowing food, leaving nothing behind. So, but what is left behind is not a black hole, but one shining hole. It's like Purnam is how he is explained. At the time of resolution, what the Lord swallows is Amita, immeasurable. Therefore, he is Amita Ashana. Shall we move to the next shloka? Okay. Udbhavaha Shobhanaha Devaha Shrigarbhaha Parameshwaraha. So there are 5 namas in the first line. Karanam, Karanam, Karta, Vikarta, Gahanaha, and Guhaha. So there are 6 namas in the second line. So let's observe some nuances of chanting here. Udbhavaha, that bha is a Mahaprana. And notice that in every time we say, there is a visarga followed by the next letter, the visarga transforms into something else. In the case of the letter ksha, if a visarga is preceding ksha, the visarga has to be fully pronounced, not to be left out. So here the chant would be Udbhavaha Kshobhano. That's how full visarga has to be chanted. It should not be left out. So Udbhavaha Kshobhano Devas Shrigarbhaha, because Devaha, visarga followed by Sha, will add an extra sibilant. Shrigarbhaf Parameshwaraha. So Garbhaf, because visarga followed by Pa of Parameshwaraha. Next line is pretty straightforward. Karanam Karanam Karta Vikarta Gahano Guhaha. So who would like to chant this shloka?
I can.
I can, Sriji.
I've heard 2 voices. Whoever was the first who say.
Sudha.
Namaste, Sudhaji. Udbhavah Kshobhano Deva Shrigarbhah Parameshwarah.
Udbhavah Kshobhano Deva Shrigarbhah Parameshwarah.
Karanam Karanam Karta Vikarta Gahano Guhaha.
Karanam Karanam Karta Vikarta Gahano Guhaha.
We'll do the full shloka. Udbhavah Kshobhano Deva Shrigarbhah Parameshwarah. Karanam Karanam Karta Vikarta Gahano Guhaha.
Udbhavah Kshobhano Deva Shrigarbhah Parameshwarah. Karanam Karanam Karta Vikarta Gahano Guhaha.
Awesome. Thank you, Sudhaji. So we'll look at the meanings now. Udbhavaha. So the origin of everything. As the material cause, he is the origin of the universe and everything has come out of him. Hence, he is Udbhava. In the next meaning, there is a second meaning. Bhava means the existence. To exist is bhava. That is, and we also talked about bhava sagaram and things like that, right? So this is samsara. Udbhava is somebody beyond the samsara is udbhava. That is 2 meanings if you have noted it correctly. The next nama is Kshobhanaha, the one who is the stirrer. So he stirs everything. Bhagavan is the one who stirs up everything at the time of creation, and hence he is Kshobhanaha. Devaha, and this we have seen in the past as well. This has a lot of meanings and a very important nama. Not that the others are not. This has a lot more prominence. The one who is effulgent. Yato divyati kridati sargadhibihi vijigishate surarin व्यवहरति सर्वभूतेषु आत्मतया द्योतते स्तूयते स्तुत्यैः सर्वत्र गच्छति तस्मात् देवः. So that is the definition. I know a lot of you are studying Sanskritam, so I thought you would enjoy that description. So I'll read it once again, just individual words. So focus on that. Yato divyati, the one who enlightens, or the one that enlivens. Kridati sargadibihi. The next one, vijigishate surarin vyavaharati sarvabhuteshu atmataya dyotate stuyate stutyaihi sarvatra gacchati tasmat devaha. Now we will look at individual meanings for these. The word deva is derived from the verbal root div, which means many, which has many meanings. Divyati or dyotate. So this is the first one that we are taking. The Lord, shining as consciousness, is effulgent, self-revealing. Swayam prakashaha is the word we have seen in the past. And all-knowing, sarvajnaha. And hence, deva. So that's the first meaning. Now, look at the second one. Divyati kridati sargadibihi. As the efficient cause, when he creates, it is an effortless krida, effortless play for him. Hence, he is Deva, the one who revels in himself. The next one, Vijigishati Surarin. He wishes to win over the Asuras, the enemies of the Devas. Okay, so that's the one. Atmataya Dyotate. He obtains as the Atma in all beings. He shines in the heart of everyone. The next one, Vyavaharati Sarvabhuteshu. As the Atma in all beings, he alone does all the Vyavaharas, the activities that are being done, that any Jiva does at any time. So when we talk about the involuntary, all the actions like the heart's beating, the blood is circulating, we are breathing, all of these are happening. So he is the one who is the activities, who is getting the activities performed within us. So Vyavaharati Sarvabhuteshu. Next one is he is Deva because Stuyate Stutibihi. He is the one praised by all the stutis, all the shrutis and all the smritis and everything are songs of praise for him. So therefore he is Deva. Kamyate, he is desired by all. Sarvatra Gacchati, he is the all-pervasive. Could there be a more complete definition of who Deva is? So what I'm going to do, this is a very important one. So I'm going to post this in the forum. And, if you all want to just start the message and, go through it a few times. So it'll be helpful, and it just, it's also important for Mananam moving forward. Whenever you feel like you just need a little bit of a boost of understanding or thinking about Bhagavan in his full glory, you can go through this message. The next nama is Shri Garbhaha, the one who has Shri within himself. So, I think in the last shloka, we have also seen a similar nama where Shri is glory, Shri is prosperity, Shri is fortune. So, the one who has fortune within himself, or the Vibhutir Yasya Garbhe is how Shankaracharya is explaining it. All the glories, all the Vibhutis are within him. Therefore, he is Shri Garbha.
Have we missed Shobhana? Shobhana?
Kshobanaha we have done, Bhavani ji. I will just repeat that for you. The one who stirs the universe at the time of creation, at the time of dissolution, the whole universe gets stirred by him. So therefore, he is Kshobanaha.
Oh, okay. I wrote that in the previous one. Okay.
Okay. I know I should probably pause between like namas to make sure that if you're making notes, you're making it for the right one. So now we are looking at 377th nama, Parameshwaraha. So Parama, Para, and we have seen many meanings of Para in the past. We always say Para and Apara. The material nature that exists is Apara, and the one beyond all of this is Para. So he is Parama Ishwaraha. So he is the superlative of Ishvara. Ishvara himself is a superlative, and Parama Ishwaraha. So even in that, he is the superlative of that. So he is Ishvara because he is capable of ruling. So too are Brahmaji and other devas, but he is also Parama, limitless, superior to all of them, and hence Parameshwara.
Please,
Next,
could you please repeat the Garbha, Sri Garbha again, please?
Sri Garbha. So I'll just read you the Sanskritam definition. Vibhutir yasya garbhe. So the one who has vibhutis, all the glories, all the fortunes, and all the prosperity in himself is Sri Garbha.
Thank you.
378 Karanam. Karanam means upakaranam. We use those terms even in our regional languages. Karanam means the instrument. Somebody is not muted. To mute everybody. Okay. Gomati ji, I think it is your phone. I'm not able to mute you. Could you please mute yourself?
Even I am not able to, Guruji. I'm
Okay.
trying. I am not able to mute it.
Okay.
But I'll
Same
keep.
here.
I will keep. I will not make any noise.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. Karanam, the instrument. So Bhagavan is the Karana, the means for the creation of the Jagat. He does not require any other means to manifest himself. So we have always seen he is the Adi Bhuta. So nothing else exists before him. And that's why we've also known, that's why we call him the Nimitta, Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam. So if everything else existed, then he just, put all these pieces together and created a universe, then he cannot be Bhagavan because all these things existed before him. So Bhagavan created the whole universe from himself. So he is the instrumental cause for the universe. He did not have any other instruments or material or intellect or knowledge that existed before him. The next one, 379, notice the two are very, very similar, Karanam and Karanam. So he is the material cause. Just going back to the same definition that we were just talking about, he is the Nimitta Karana, is what this nama is explaining, and he is the Upadana Karanam, is what the other Karanam nama is explaining. He is the efficient cause and the material cause of the whole universe. Next nama, 380, is Karta, the one, the maker, the doer of something. So the independent maker. Karta Swatantraha is how Shankaracharya explains this in briefly as Karta Swatantraha. Swatantritvam is a very important aspect of Bhagavan. We are dependent on a billion things for each to run each of our day, but he is not dependent on anything. All the things that we are dependent on are his creation, and he has created an entire universe that is codependent and can exist together, but he is not dependent on either the Jagat or anything else for making or for the Srishti or for the Sthiti or for the Laya of the universe. So he is Swatantraha. Number 381, Vikarta, the creator of the variegated world. Vichitram Bhuvanam Kritavan iti vikarta is how Shankaracharya explains it. You know, when I read the actual definitions and how it is explained in Sanskritam, with just a very short sentence, you can give such profound meaning to it. No matter how much we try to describe it in English, it still does not go into that kind of depth. So that's why I'm going to try to start giving like the Sanskritam definitions. Vichitram bhuvanam kritavan. So pretty simple for us to understand, right? Iti vikarta. So there is a long description which I'm going to read and then we will discuss it. To understand these four names, Karanam, Karanam, Karta, Vikarta, four names, just put them in brackets. We should see how we function in the world and then see how the Lord is different from us. In the world, with reference to the creation of a pot, the potter is the Karta, the intelligent cause, and he makes use of the clay as the Upadana Karanam and the material cause, which is different from him. So, think about that potter creating a pot. So, potter, the potter's wheel as the instrument, clay as the material, and the result is a pot. So, there are four things that are here. Further, he needs the help of various karanas, instruments like the wheel, the stick to move the wheel, and so on. The things that he makes are also more or less the same without much variation, like an assembly line. This holds good for anything that is created by human beings, no matter what example you take. But the creation of the Lord is different. He is the intelligent and independent maker, as well as the material and the means. He does not depend on anything other than himself. At the same time, he is Vikarta, creating a wondrous universe consisting of many and varied things. In his creation, there are no two things alike, and hence this Jagat is Vichitra. As the creator of the Vichitra Jagat, with its manifold forms, he is called as Vikarta. Did it make sense?
Can you please repeat that Sanskrit Vichitram Bhuvanam?
Vichitram Kritavan. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Right? And Vichitram means variety. Nothing is similar to each other. Like including, we say, oh, human beings, but we are not lookalikes. Even our fingerprints don't match. Our DNA doesn't get duplicated. So Vichitram Bhuvanam means create he is the instrumental cause, he is the material cause, he is independent, he did not have anything, he is the intellectual cause behind all of this, and he created a universe that is multivariegated. So bracket those four namas, those should be chanted together. Gahanaha, the one who is not easily known. So I'll try to start reading these definitions. So if you want to write it down, or maybe just try to focus and listen, and probably we'll reach a point where we will only be reading the definition, we will understand it. Swarupam, Samadhyam, Cheshtitam, or I'll break it into some of these. Swarupam, Samadhyam, Cha, Ishtitam, Va, Tasya Jnatum na Shakyata iti Gahanaha. So Swarupam, Samadhyam, Cha Ishtitam. His nature, his capabilities, his power, and his actions cannot be easily known. Swarupam, Samadhyam, Cha Ishtitam, Va, Tasya Jnatum na Shakyati iti Gahanaha. Okay. So since Ishvara Samarthyam, his glories, his capabilities are countless, it is difficult to understand them. We can only know his glories in a general way. They cannot be known in detail. So this is in the absolute measure. And as relative, we cannot even understand what is the scope of this absoluteness of Bhagavan. But based on our limited knowledge and our limited scope of understanding, we can say, okay, because I know what is the vibhuti of sun, the brightest thing that I know, the hottest thing that I know is Bhagavan Surya Narayana. If Ishvara Parameshwara has created sun and there are billions of suns, I can only imagine what his absolute measure of this heat or this creative power or this brightness is. When we talk about Sahasra Surya Rashmihi, that Sahasra is Ananta. So I don't even know what Ananta means, but I can only put that in context of what I know, the relative context that I have, and imagine that in an absolute measure. But the actual measure of him is unknown to me. I will not be able to know. So that's why he is Gahanaha. Next nama is Guhaha, the one whose nature is covered by ignorance. Guhate samvrunoti swarupadi nijamayayeti guhaha. He lives in the cave of the buddhi, intellect, and his swarupa is covered with the darkness of avidya. The darkness can only be removed by the light of knowledge, which will reveal the swarupa of Bhagavan. Till then, he is Guha. Bhagavan says in Gita, Naham prakashas sarvasya yogamaya samavritaha. I am not recognizable by all, being covered by the yogamaya. Okay, does that make sense? We have completed till 383. Any questions before we move to the next shloka? And maybe we'll just have time for 2 or 3 namas in the next shloka.
Sriji, can you please repeat that Guhaha one more time? Meaning?
So you mean the Sanskritam one?
Yes, please.
Okay. Guhate samvrunoti swarupadi nija maya iti guhaha. Awesome. So we'll look at the next shloka. Vyavasayaha vyavasthanaha samsthanaha sthanataha dhruvaha paradhihi paramaspashtaha tushtaha pushtaha shubhekshanaha. So those are the namas. How many did we get? Vyavasayaha, vyavasthanaha, samsthanaha, sthanadaha, dhruvaha. So there are 5 in the first line. Paradhihi, paramaha, paramaspashtaha, tushtaha, pushtaha, subhekshanaha, 5 in the second line. Now let's look at the chanting rules. Vyavasayo, vyavasthanaha, that sa with a tha, the second tha, mahaprana, and sthanas, because it is followed by, the visarga is followed by samsthana, the sa sibilant. So vyavasthanas, samsthanas, sthanado. So you will get 2 simultaneous sibilants. So you'll have to be very careful when you're chanting that. Sthanado dhruvaha, dhruva is a mahaprana dha. The next line, paradhihi, the second tha, paramaspashtaha, so paradhif, paramaspashtas, oh sorry, paradhif, paramaspashtas, tush, yeah, for some reason I do a S there, which I have to check if it is correct or not. Tushtaf, pushtaha, tushtaha, visarga followed by pa, tushtaf, pushtas, shubhekshanaha, the sha, shiva sha, sibilant will will be double after the pushtaha.
Is it
So,
pushta?
pushtas, yeah, pushtas shubhekshanaha. And tushtaf pushtaha.
Pushta, pushta. Okay.
Awesome. Anita ji, I think you wanted to chant. Would you like to chant now?
Yes.
Vyavasayo vyavasthanas samsthanasthanado dhruvaha.
व्यवसाय व्यवस्थानः संस्थानस्थानदो ध्रुवः
Paradhif paramaspashtastuštah puštah subhekshanaha.
परदिः परमस्पष्टः तुष्टः पुष्टः शुभेक्षणः.
Okay, we'll do the full shloka. व्यवसायो व्यवस्थानः संस्थानस्तानदो ध्रुवः परद्धिः परमस्पष्टस्तुष्टः पुष्टः शुभेक्षणः
व्यवसायो संस्थानस्थानदो ध्रुवः परदिः परमस्पुष्टः तुष्टः पुष्टः सुभेक्षणः.
Would you like to do the second line one more time? Because paramaspashtaha, not paramaspushtaha. So,
परदिः परमस्पष्टः तुष्टः पुष्टः सुभेक्षणः.
awesome. Thank you so much, Anita ji.
Shriji,
So,
excuse me, one doubt.
sure.
It is Parardhi or Parati?
So, Parathi is correct. In Telugu, we actually combine, we mix up the second Mahaprana Tha and Mahaprana Dha. So, sometimes I go into that mode. So, I apologize for that. It is Parathi, the Tha, second Tha.
Thank you.
Okay, we will probably have time for one Nama. Vyavasayaha. So, if anybody remembers from Bhagavad Gita, Vyavasayatmika Buddhihi, right? The one who is the nature of consciousness. So, samvin matra swarupatvat vyavasayaha is the definition. Samvin matra swarupatvat. Vyavasaya generally means determination or knowledge free from doubts. So, this is where the Vyavasayatmika Buddhihi comes in Gita. It is the Lord who is in the form of determination and knowledge, and hence he is Vyavasaya. Knowing him, one can also get rid of doubts. The next meaning, which is what Shankaracharya has taken, is Vyavasaya also means the samvit, the consciousness. All cognitions and determinations are possible only because of the blessing of the consciousness. So, being that samvit, he is Vyavasaya.
Shriji, one question.
Sure, go ahead, Lakshmi.
Parardiv, Parmaspashta. What is that sibilant? Is it sir?
I have always been chanting with a sa there, and I wanted to confirm if that is correct. I'm not remembering the chanting rule that says I should say sa, but since childhood I've always been using sa. So I had a doubt there, so I will confirm and clarify that.
Okay. Thanks, Shriji.
Awesome. Any further final thoughts before we conclude with Shanti Mantram? Okay, we need to start from Vyavasthanaha next week. पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ सर्वं श्रीमन्नारायण चरणारविन्दार्पणमस्तु. Thank you so much for your time. We'll catch up next week.
Thank you, Shriji.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.